Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to my podcast. Glasses don't work. Welcome to my podcast. And as you know, it is the podcast better known as Clear Blue Radiance. And here, when we're dealing with Clear Blue Radiance, it's all about different metaphysical topics that I like to come up with that have a spiritual base to them all at the same time. And it's a great way for me to share with many of you the things that I've gone through in my own life. So I'm actually talking from real life experience. It's not something that I'm making up per se in my head. It's some things that I've gone through in my life. And I've been on the planet 7 decades. So, well, I'm in the start of my seventh decade. I try to laugh even more so, which brings forth a lot of happiness, joy, peace, and harmony within myself and also with the people that are around me. Well, today's topic is for Clear Blue Radiance podcast, done every Thursday. I try to come at 1 o'clock. Sometimes I get here 1:30, but today it's about 1 Mountain Time. It says you can fly first class in your own life. Now, that's very unique. You could fly first class in your own life whenever you release the baggage of your past. Now, that seems to be like a little twist in there, right? I want to make sure that in the comment section here, you could see and know that this topic is a real topic. And reason why I say that is because many of us are going through changes. In fact, isn't it just recently, between last night and now, depending on where we are in the world, a solar eclipse and a solar eclipse happening inside of a new moon? So, and I think the new moon is supposed to be in Cancer, right? And then you got this solar eclipse in the sun of Taurus. Well, there are a lot of things, as some astrologers say, and I don't want to quote because I could be off, and you should double check anything that we say here, that great changes are made during a solar eclipse. And this one has a very special kind of name. So it has to do with like cleaning our slate. We are around the time, like our teacher, owner of Resonant Essentials, Michelle Vidal says, this great awakening that's coming in our direction. This is why we're here. This is why we're scurrying about, trying to get more settled in our lives so we can be in the right position. And sometimes you don't always get into the right position. Sometimes you just barely get into position and you find yourself out of position most of the time. Well, it takes work, a lot of self work. So I want to make sure that I get this title in here because it's very important. And today's title is, again, You Can Fly First Class. Now, many people have flown first class. I didn't get a chance to do it yet, but there's a reason that we do what we do. And first class in your own life, there's a reason for that. However, and I use whenever here, your, or excuse me, that you release the baggage of your past. And that's for today, April 20 in 2023. Now, here's the deal. Here's the important message that I want to share. We're looking at ourselves all the time, and sometimes we get flustered. We don't understand why we're in this lane. when another lane is happening over here, and we want to go into this particular element or style or opportunity, and we don't often get this chance to become more fluent in our own lives. So we find ourselves kind of skating all over the place, right? We're not sure where we're supposed to be at times. And I'm going to raise my hand. I'm one of them, okay? But it takes diligent effort, a lot of effort, to be able to move forward in the direction that you want to be able to go, so that you're not having any issues. Okay, now you're going to have issues, granted. You're going to have your issues. You're going to be trying to figure out, well, how come I'm doing this instead of this? I want to do this rather than that. Well, sometimes the that you don't want to do might be the thing that you have to do. And often when we build it up into something that creates an immense hurdle for ourselves, and we think we can't climb that hill, and we think we can't get over the other side, and then we're hemming and hawing and we're procrastinating. What happens? Well, this is what happens. Because we procrastinate a little too long, sometimes we're getting a direct message from internally from our higher self that knows the direction that we have to go in. That's the part of ourselves that's connected to divine source, prime creator, whatever you want to call it, the opulent one, the most infinite one. And often we're not listening. Sometimes we're asking for signs to appear. Signs show up. We're not paying attention, or we don't read them correctly. Sometimes we call for assistance, all kinds of assistance, and assistance shows up, and we think that's not it. So we fail to pay attention to these opportunities that are continuously presenting themselves to us. Well, before I go further, who am I? I'm Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. I'm your podcast host for Clear Blue Radiance. And this is a brand new episode for us today. I am a spiritual counselor. I've been one for close to 45 years. And this is a golden opportunity where I'm helping you move forward in your life. I enjoy helping people just like yourself gain greater clarity in your life, right where you're at right now. I also enjoy helping you discover and redefine your purpose in life, because your purpose changes, as you evolve. And I want you to listen to that word, evolve. In fact, write it down, EVOLVE, evolve. All right, that's a part of today's conversation today. Now, what we have to begin to understand is that, and there's two types of baggages I'm talking about. My question is, do you realize that many people are flying first class with two types of baggage on board? Well, there's one set on the plane they choose to go first class with, and there is that second set of baggage that they are lugging around internally. Two sets of baggage, an external one. And what happens when you carry that baggage is usually behind you, not necessarily right by your side all the time, but you drag it and it's behind you. What is interesting, so is stuff you got on the inside, it's actually behind you. It's really outdated, it's old. So that baggage is that behind you that you're lugging around all the time, even when you're not flying first class. You might be flying coach or business or economy. You still got the baggage on the inside that you're still lugging around, moment to moment, day to day, week to week, second to second, month to month, year to year. That baggage that you're lugging around, that extra baggage that no one can see, but they can feel, they can sense you got it. And you can sense that other people have theirs as well. It's overflowing with fear, doubt, low self esteem, negative competitive attitudes, self hatred, anger, and hatred for others. We see that happening for the past couple of years, this resurgence of great anger and hatred for other people that you don't even understand, that other people don't understand. Other people keep making excuses. And there's so much other stuff. I'm not even a political person, but I'm well aware that there's a lot of gunk going on. People trying to take the country back into, I'll just give it the initials, JCL law. A certain law that was running around that allowed certain people to uh, take advantage and snuff people's lives out in the South. But it was all over the country happening at the same time. Late 1800s, early 19s, in the teens in the 1900s, and so on and so forth, going right up to 1955, 1968. But I don't want to jump into that right now. Good afternoon, Jackie. I don't want to jump into that. I want to stay on this topic because this is a very important topic that is somehow related to that too. You see, because those things that we keep seeing in the news, low vibration is designed to numb you right out. So, can you imagine if you were going first class? Hey, Marjorie, how you doing? If you were going first class on a plane physically, and you had two sets of luggage, the one that you physically put on the plane over your head, under your seat, in that other luggage rack thing, wherever it goes on the plane. And then there's the internal one. Also, sitting on the inside is what? Some of us have um, a lot of lack, not just financially, materialistically, but also health wise. Sometimes there is baggage that weighs on the mind. Yeah, baggage that weighs on the mind. You don't feel so good about where you live, how you live, who your neighbors are. And yet, we don't realize we've been bombarded with so much stuff. I just brought myself a brand new TV for my birthday. My birthday was in March, and I waited a whole month and found one. And I find myself watching old stuff on it because it's a smart TV. So I got all these different channels. And it's amazing what you see. And it reminds me of things growing up when I was younger, that the mindset is still there. So often, a lot of people stick their chest out and say, I'm going first class. I'm flying first class. I can afford to fly first class. Well, you can fly first class anywhere in the world, but you still didn't unpack the baggage from the past, because that baggage from the past is following you all over the world, no matter where you go. You go to sleep at night, it's parked inside of you. You get up, shower, brush your teeth, have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's still there. A lot of people do not release the baggage that they have on the inside of them. And when they don't release the baggage that they have on the inside of them, they find themselves having a very difficult time in life. When you play around with the word life, what do you see? File, File. So they file this old baggage away up here behind their heart, in their lungs, in their liver where anger sits, in their pancreas, in the stomach, in the guts, the intestines. They're full of it. And many of us have been full of it at some point in our lives. That's why I like to talk about things I know I have experienced because it's relatable. When you don't know yourself, you're not comfortable with yourself, you got this baggage and you don't realize it's sitting on the inside. And if you don't get it out, it will do what? Implode. And all dis-ease, unhappiness takes place inside the body. Sometimes people got old baggage on the inside, and some of that deals with anger. And because they don't work out the anger, the real reason they have the anger, they explode it on somebody who doesn't deserve it. And even if someone was to deserve it, they can't get it out to that person because they're afraid of that person. What is that person going to think of them? Many of us have not learned how to shift energy. And I'm beginning to understand, even when I used to teach Tai Chi back on Long Island. I don't teach it anymore because I had some things that happened, but I'm getting back to it. Not so much teaching it, but for myself. And Tai Chi teaches you all about the subtle shifts of energy through your body and the subtle shifts of balance that you can do, where you can literally thwart, block, deflect an attack on your person just by moving a few degrees out of the way. You can take big steps, but what if you have no room? Then you gotta know how to work the little steps, the little space. So many people get on the plane, go in first class, and got two sets of baggage. They got that baggage with the Gucci and the Versace and the whoever else that's in there. Uh, Beyond the Stacey Adams Florsheim shoes and everything else, John Murphy shoes, right? Women got the dresses, you name it, people got it. If they can afford it, they can afford it. I'm not poo pooing that. What I'm looking at is, though, the lack, the lack of an ability to clean the inner house out, clear those thoughts out. That's the baggage. The sadness and melancholy, where we're playing the blues. Hear that violin in the background, and somebody is talking about they're the victim when in actuality they're a narcissist who wants to be the victim so they can stay in control of their environment and the people in it and the people closest to them. We got those sociable, sociopathic kind of people too. We have to learn how to work on ourselves. And what we are really lacking is the word LOVE, love. But we can't issue the love out because we don't have any what? Evolved on the inside with self love. Self love gives us a value that is infinite once you can tune into it, once you could shake it up inside yourself like a mixer mixing a drink, but you want to use the pure innocence of self-love. Through the pure innocence of self-love, and I know many people have said that have listened to this program that I do here on Thursdays. So you usually actually you're talking about the same topic uh, under different guises. Well, sometimes you have to do that to get the message across. Not everybody may understand what I'm actually talking about from last week or 3 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago or 115 weeks ago. 116. Hey, sometimes you got to be like the chef. You got to make it look right, but it's got to taste good. And it's got to do what? It's got to serve the appetite. So I try to keep it as simple as possible. See, sometimes many of us have learned that at one time or another, we carried baggage around with some of these items received. That means the self hatred or hatred lodged our way, or hatred lodged at others, anger, self hatred, negative competitive thoughts, huh? Through bad relationships, jobs that really didn't do us well, but we had to do it to take care of family, take care of yourself, take care of close friend or relative. But it really didn't serve you well. It didn't put you in a position where you could see your purpose. And so I like to be able to look at the person and understand where their purpose is. So what I try to do though is I try to dig into the surface with you. I don't give you the shovel and then I just stand off to the side. Because you could make a mistake. You could make a grave mistake that could be not repairable. So, as a spiritual counselor, I got to roll up my sleeves and I got to get into the foxhole with you and help you so that you don't cut the wrong things. You don't throw out the wrong parts of yourself. Sometimes that can happen if you're very sad, if you're very angry, and you're not feeling up to par as to who you are, you might cut the wrong cord. I'm going to say that again. You might cut the wrong cord because your mind is in a different box, in a different place. Your emotions are all over the place. You're not grounded. You're not centered. And sometimes you don't know what it is that you want to do. Many of us have gone through that, right? Where we're thinking, well, what do I do now? I done did about 13 jobs. I done walked in and out of 5 careers, and I've been fired out of 2 of them. And you think, oh my God, goodness, what do I do now? What do I need to do now in order to get better, be better, have a better version of myself? Well, the answer has been mentioned already. That key wording is self love. Love of ourselves is where we've got to go with this. Now, and because if we do it with a sense of true self love, not phony, true, authentic self love, we can lift ourselves up. When I think of that, lift ourselves up, remember in the Star Trek TV show with Leonard Nimoy, and they had the guy who was the Irishman, and they would tell him, "Beam me up, Scotty. I'm ready to go. Beam me up." Well, now you can beam yourself up if you have enough self love where you become more buoyant. You start to float. You're not held down by the negativity in the world because you're seeking to be free, to free yourself of what? The old baggage. Now, sometimes, granted, you got some things in that old baggage that should not be thrown away, but the bulk of it, about 90% of it, needs to go. So, this true self, we can use it to lift ourselves up. Changes happen moment to moment in very subtle ways. Now, they got this eclipse going on, solar eclipse, whether it was last night or tonight. But guess what? Eclipses are used to purge, to make changes. Eclipses, solar and lunar, emotions and the outward appearance, or the spiritual part of yourself has to go through a change. I taught in a class, one of my classes last night. It's like, in order to get a diamond, it's a rough stone, it's a rough ore, and it has to go through several cycles of pressure before it starts to be that diamond underneath all that other crud. But once it's formed, once it gets the facets shaved into place and polished, that diamond can cut glass. So imagine if you could reach deep down inside yourself, purge everything you need to purge, but find the gem inside of you, the nuggets inside of you. Turn those things around, utilize them to cut your way through, cut yourself out of a situation, cut yourself into a situation. You often hear that, right? People say, "Hey, cut me into that deal. Give me a hand. I'm looking for something." Changes happen moment to moment. Now, the late king of pop said it himself. Michael Jackson had a popular tune, and that tune was "The Man in the Mirror." He said, "Take a look at yourself and make that change." Now, evolve. As you evolve, you are changing. How many times have you checked yourself in the mirror? We do it all the time. Brushing our teeth, washing our face, combing our hair, making sure a tie or bow is on straight, making sure clothes fit properly. We're constantly doing it, checking our weight, our body posture. We're doing it all the time, making sure clothes look nice and neat on us, and so on and so forth. We're doing it all the time. But are we succeeding? No, we don't get to succeed all the time, but that's because we are being pressured to become a diamond. But we must be willing to change ourselves. And that was the unique thing about Michael Jackson's tune, "The Man in the Mirror." He said, take a look at yourself and make that change. In other words, when you look at yourself reflected in the mirror, you're going to see something special. I don't care if you're disheveled, if your hair's out of place. You're going to spot something that's special, that's oozing out of your pores, oozing out of your auric field. You're going to see it eventually. And when you see it, you will be humbled by what you see. Yes, you will be humbled by what you see. When we look in the mirror and see a reflection of ourselves, we're going to see things that we don't like. We definitely will not see something that we're going to like. But that's good because after you get over the initial shock of that, then you're thrown into the fire of life itself, where spirit is steaming and rolling around. Sometimes we got to get run over by the Mack truck. Sometimes we got to get run over by the asphalt thing that rolls in the street, steamroller. Sometimes we have to fall off of something or stumble to slow down. And once we can slow ourselves down, then we are in a position to see what we need to see, hear what we need to hear, touch what we need to touch. We have to develop great faith in ourselves. Great faith. When we put together the parts that make up great faith, then we shall succeed. So, can you imagine how many times you check yourself in the mirror for physical appearance, but did you check for metaphysical and spiritual, emotional, mental appearance? taking us beyond the physical look. We must be willing to change ourselves. As we change ourselves, we allow ourselves to take control of our own life. Because we know when you become an adult, if you're not making certain steps in your own life, someone will make those steps for you and you're not going to like it. So, how can you make this change? You will make this change with yourself through self love. That is the only way. True self love increases your value of how you see yourself with family, friends, community, neighborhoods, state-wise, county-wise, you name it. But if you don't take a close look and love yourself more, then you don't really see or know who you truly are. You don't want to get angry and then find out who you are. Because sometimes you can get angry and destroy things that you shouldn't destroy. For the most part, though, we have to look within and make the changes on the inside. And it takes a long time. It doesn't happen overnight. Those of us who are walking around in these early 70s can tell you it took us all 60, 50 years to figure this stuff out. Many of us didn't have help. We didn't have a helping hand. And if we had some people there who could help us, they chose not to help us. But when you get older, you kind of see like, well, maybe I chose that too before I got here. I chose people not to assist me because I was going to do what? I was going to purge and I was going to be molded and pressured into a diamond. In fact, I was going to come out the other side of being a diamond. I was going to come out where I'm a combination of all the alloys: pure gold, pure copper, pure iron, pure silver, and going on and on and on, platinum, titanium, just going on and on to the highest of the highest, the most infinite. Do it through self love. That's how we change the person in the mirror that we see, because we start loving that person, that reflection that we see. Doing it through self love. And in this manner, we will find inside the word evolve, EVOLVE, you will see love. Love is the word, love is the key, self love is the way. Love yourself unconditionally, then you could love someone else. But you got to learn how to love yourself. Why? Because if you learn how to love yourself, you will know what can you nourish yourself with, and how will you nourish yourself. You're going to stop hanging out with certain people. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes you got to get away and be around other people. Or in my case, with the work that I do, just absolute silence. If I go out, I go out and get a bite to eat with an artist friend of mine and a few other people. But for the most part, learn how to cook again. Stay home and experiment. But if I do go out, I go someplace. Why? That has value to it. Not just any place. A place that's clean and that has value. Why? Because that speaks of who I am. So we want to make the proper change. We got to see how we're being reflected into the world, how we're doing that. And once we do that, change will happen. In fact, we will notice that the change has always been happening. We're just able to steer that change in a different direction or in the same direction, but at a higher plateau. That's what we're striving to do. And that's why this today's topic is you can fly first class in your own life whenever you release the baggage of your past. Well, that's the end of my topic today. If you want to get more information about where I'm connected, www.resonantessentials.com. That is the website page. You can go and click under practitioners. There's about 14, 15 or more practitioners, including Michelle Vidal there. People doing Reiki, people doing cranial therapy work. Okay, people doing tarot. You know, we've got a lot of new people there, and they are working their way through into higher consciousness. Why they're seeking to evolve, and they're willing to evolve. I'm there every Saturday. When I'm there every Saturday for a minimal fee of about $10, I give you a 1 hour creative pathwork meditation within a group. Sometimes that group could be one person with me, two people, three people. I've had as much as up to 20 at one point a couple of years ago. So the cycle is coming back where people want this knowledge, this information, so that what they can get better, they can improve their life and then improve everyone around them. They can become like the Rose Cross. They can be the rose on there, which is like the Rosicrucians. They can dig deep inside themselves and bring forth greater truths, which lead to peace, harmony, and happiness. So, look to the website, www.resonantessentials.com. You know, on Sundays, there's astrological orbital astrology with Johanna Rader. She's a young person that's really on the ball doing her astrology work. We have many people throughout the week. The center's closed on Mondays, but we have people there Tuesday through Saturday from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Some people stay a little later because they got clients coming in. A lot of awesome new people there. We have Amber that's there on Tuesdays with her Reiki, and with her, usually there's another practitioner, Nikki. Um, Nikki Phillips, and she's there doing oracle card readings and other readings. She can connect with children very, very well. We have so many people. You just need to go in there and check, and just check us out. Okay. Usually every second Sunday we have a psychic fair. Because of second Sunday was Easter, we moved everything to just this past Sunday and this week. It was like literally busy all day long. So I'm there every Saturday, and sometimes we have other classes going on online. There's a tarot circle, Albuquerque Tarot Circle through Zoom. So you got to like go to the calendar and see who's doing what. And then I think that woman's name is um, Susan Pepper or Pepper Jojola, something like that. I met this lady about 11, 10 years ago. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman who can teach tarot online like that. And then we have another woman that comes into the center by the name of Darlene Costello. And that lady can teach some tarot. Man, she goes really in depth, and people learn a lot. There's also Michelle Vidal, and she has lots of other classes. She has classes now and courses based on her book, her very first book that just came out a few months ago, and it's called Mastering Metaphysics. For years, she was teaching various bits and pieces. Now it's all in a book format, and she can take you even deeper. It's called Mastering Metaphysics, the fundamentals of metaphysics and the principles and the foundations. So you might want to go check her out. You can look it up as her initials D, as in uh, Donna or Diana, M as in Michelle Vidal, Vidal, right there on Amazon, Mastering Metaphysics. And get the book if you can. I've written books myself. I've done about six, five of them since I've been here these past 11 years. I got another one I'm working on dealing with meditation and the different ways in which you can meditate and change yourself. So we have so many different practitioners. You need to come in and check out preferred businesses, as I'm one of them, and two other ladies are there as well. So go to the website www.residentessentials.com. Usually Michelle comes on at 10 a.m. on Fridays, 10 a.m. on Fridays. So she is giving a lot of information. Now she won't be on next Friday because she'll be out of town with one or two other people at the Copper Hotel down in Bisbee, Arizona, for a paranormal, spiritual, metaphysical expo going on way down in Bisbee, Arizona. So that will be sometime next Wednesday through Saturday. So, in fact, the reason I needed to say that is because Saturday, April the 29th, I have another commitment, so I won't be in the center teaching my creative path work meditation in person, which usually goes from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. every Saturday. I won't be there the last Saturday of this month, which is April the 29th. So I just want to put that out there to you, but I'll be there this Saturday. Come on down if you're in the city of Albuquerque. Albuquerque is huge. Come on down. The address at Resident Essentials is 3107 Eubank Boulevard Northeast, inside of the Scottsdale Shopping Plaza, which is just north of the intersection of Eubank and Candelaria. And opposite the entrance on the Eubank traveling south on the west side of the block is Silver Bowling Lane. So that's how you'll know where it is located. All right, everybody, I'm going to sign off. I look forward to be here hopefully next Friday. I'm supposed to house sit, doggy sit. So I don't know if I'm going to be on next Thursday yet. I have to double check that and get that straight. All right. So y'all take care of yourselves. Be fine. Thank you, Marjorie Albalar. Thank you, Jackie Fillmore, for being here. Click the like button. Click if you subscribe so you can tune in and go over to Resident Essentials, the group on Facebook, and join there if you like, so you can see what's going on within the group. Many of our practitioners are right there, such as myself. Thank you so much for your time. And oh, by the way, oh yeah, Darlene, yes, yes, she's a great lady. Yes, wonderful person. What do I need to tell you is next month when we have our psychic fair, Mother's Day is always on the second Sunday, so we're going to have it on the third Sunday. We'll have another psychic fair, and I'll be there, and we'll have so many other people there with us, with Michelle, myself. We have Lauren White doing her tarot, young woman, very good, very fine person. We have usually different vendors coming in there, so you want to like really check in. If you want more information about myself, you can just go to my website, which is www.circleofgrace1.us. I like to say .us. Okay. Or just email me at iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com. All right. It is time for me to sign off. It's 44 minutes. Long time. I'm going to wait till it hits 33. 44 minutes and 33 seconds. There you go. All right. So I'm out of here. Take good care of yourselves. Have a great tomorrow, a better today, and a fabulous weekend. My grace is your grace. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. See you real soon. And thank you so much for stopping by and chit chatting with me and listening to today's message.